Well, good morning, Canada. Grab your mug because you know what? It's been a week. The trade clock just started ticking and the CUSMA review window is sliding open. Also, the F-35 file hits a decision point tomorrow. Ottawa's final review is landing and the wording coming out of Washington has been, well, let's call it helpfully threatening.
The understatement of the year. But here's what's on the menu for today. The US is walling itself in with tariffs, and Canada's quietly padding the landing with new partners, new ports, and new pipelines for prosperity.
And on the America is threatening Canada front, Washington is warning of consequences if we back away from the F-35 deal. Right as an F-35 in Alaska did a very un-Arctic thing and froze up on approach. Yeah, that really inspires confidence for a January night in Yellowknife, eh?
So we want to ask you straight up, what should Canada do on the fighter jets? Should we stay with the Americans and the full F-35 buy? Split the difference by taking the first jets we've already paid for and then pivot to a European partnership with a made-in-Canada line? Or do we dump it all in building Canada right off the start?
Well, we're gonna break it down for you. And then you drop A, B, or C in the comments and tell us what your thoughts are.
So let's get into it. And this is how we see it. We're going to start with option A, which is just play nice and keep the contract as is to appease this rogue government run by an orange asset.
Now, if we do that, I think we first need to ask ourselves, do we really want these planes in the first place? I mean, how can we forget that freeze up, right? Last month, the US Air Force released its report on that Alaska crash that went viral. It said that it was frozen water-contaminated hydraulic fluid that caused the nose gear failure. Basically, it fooled the jet into thinking it was on the ground. It then went uncontrollable, the pilot punched out, and poof, a fireball. I guess all weather doesn't mean Arctic proof if frozen gunk can jam your nose gear.
Kind of like all-weather tires versus winter tires. It's fine in Vancouver drizzle, but in Iqaluit, your all-weather turns into summer slicks on black ice.
Listen, if a fighter can't shrug off deep freeze drama without a maintenance miracle, maybe don't base your Arctic sovereignty on tech that taps out at minus whatever. Just say it.
And then there's the whole software issue. The F-35 is a software-defined jet. The code, diagnostics, and the update keys live with the US vendor. If access is delayed or throttled, your very expensive plane becomes a very shiny lawn ornament.
And now let's zoom out on the politics of it all. That software leash runs through Washington. If the White House already has a guy who has praised Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un, he cozies up to oligarchs and treats allies like rental cars, why would we let his Pentagon hold the key to our aircraft?
Now remember, this isn't just a plane purchase, it's an industrial policy with wings. Do we keep renting American muscle? Or do we build our own Canadian muscle memory?
And really, timing matters as well. We're heading into the CUSMA renegotiation, meaning it's leverage season. You don't toss your biggest bargaining chip on the table and say, we'll take whatever's behind door number 1. You hold it, you smile, and you say, we're evaluating all options. And then you let the silence do the push-ups.
Okay, but let's talk about option B, the first 16 jets. Those are basically locked. We've legally committed the money. We could cancel the rest of them, but we'd lose what we've already paid. There's no refund ferry out there. But we do get to keep those jets. However, we'd be running a mixed fleet for a bit, and we'd still have to pay the software maintenance for the 16 that we keep. But our pilots keep flying, and NORAD, it stays covered.
Now, we then hit pause on the rest of the order, pay a cancellation bill for work already started, and then pivot to the European Gripen jet that we build in Canada. Final assembly here, big Canadian-made parts, and all the maintenance and upgrades on our soil.
So in the short term, the F-35s give us capability in the air. Long term, the European line gives us jobs, tech transfers, and control. It's not just a hangar full of imports.
We bridge the gap while the Canadian line ramps up. Think 3 to 5 years to stand up production and train crews. In the meantime, we keep flying the 16 plus our current fleet.
So there would still be costs and consequences, but the big money that would have gone offshore starts paying Canadians. Tooling, apprenticeships, engineers, the whole ecosystem.
And then there's the political fallout. There would be Washington side-eye for sure. But what we do is we package the pivot with NORAD upgrades and critical minerals cooperation so any consequences cut both ways.
So the bottom line, fly now with the 16, then build here for the next 40 years. That's less dependence on the US and more leverage and more Canadian paychecks.
So why would we pick Washington's ultimatums over a European partnership? Why would we work with one side who threatens when the other side is offering partnerships and control?
Well, that brings us to option C. If we cancel the US deal altogether, we'd eat the money already spent and pay a termination bill for work in progress. It's not fun, but it's a one-time fee that we could price out.
Then we would sign a Build in Canada contract for the Saab Gripen. Final assembly line here, Canadian companies making big parts, and a full maintenance upgrade chain on Canadian soil with real tech transfer. Our engineers get the know-how, not just a login.
But then we need to bridge the gap. You're looking at roughly 3 to 5 years to stand up production, train crews, and start deliveries. In the meantime, we either life extend our current jets or lease or borrow small interim fleets from allies. It's doable, we just need to really plan for it.
In the meantime, we might lose access to a few US-only weapons software, but we gain freedom to upgrade on our schedule without waiting for someone else's permission slip.
The big money picture is I think this is the most expensive option because you have to pay the cancellation costs and all the startup costs here at home. That's going to be a hard tax bill for Canadian taxpayers to swallow. But that cash will stay in Canada as jobs, apprentices, and it'll give a tax base for 40 years, giving Canada a steady revenue for hospitals, schools, and infrastructure. It's not a cross-border shopping trip, we're building an industry.
So, what's the upside? Well, Canadian control of the supply chain and the chance to export components and services to others.
The downside, other than cost, is the political fallout. It could be huge. With CUSMA negotiations and that clown in the White House, we are in a very vulnerable place. There's no doubt in my mind that politically you can expect noise. Someone will bang a podium and demand we cave. I wonder who that'll be. So what do you all think? What should Canada do?
Let us know in the comments. Do you want A, where we stay with the full F-35 buy, B, take the first jets, then pivot to a Made in Canada line, or C, just dump the deal altogether and build here?
I can't wait to hear what everyone chooses.
Now, before we move on, let's myth bust a couple of knee-jerk comments that we always get.
Canada is too small to matter. Cool story, but the world lines up for our food, our energy, and minerals. Our reliability is currency. We may have a small population, but we're rich in resources.
And we really wanted to address this one. To be clear, we're not being disrespectful to our flag. It is hanging correctly. You are allowed to hang a Canadian flag vertically as long as the stem's on the right and the upper part of the maple leaf is on the left. There, we said it.
And diversifying is anti-American? No way, man. It's pro-Canadian. And ultimately, it's pro-North American because fewer meltdowns at the border helps everyone. And let's say this plainly. We can love our American friends and refuse to sabotage our own economy. Those two ideas, they're compatible. We've done it before, and we'll do it again.
All right, that's the show for this week. If you dug it, or you're yelling at your screen, leave a comment or come find us on Substack. Search The Planet Democracy and hit subscribe so the long-form stuff lands in your inbox.
And join the A-Team while you're there, our little Canadian coven of policy nerds and professional eye rollers. Well, hey, we're a team. We post extras, sources, and what Ottawa really meant footnotes.
And if you found us through our travel channel, hi, you're not lost. Same passports, different lane. Politics is the itinerary now, but you can find all of our travels on our ThePlanetD travel channel. All the links are in the description and in the first pinned comment.
So make sure to smash like, tap subscribe, ring that bell, and keep calm and carny on. He's got this.
Also, we're ramping up. Sundays aren't enough anymore. Too much is happening. Watch for midweek drops, live Q&As, and bonus mailbags.
Canada's building options. We've got our elbows up, everybody, so make sure you keep them pointed.
See you soon.